Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, March 16th, and I thank you so much for joining into our weekly ACA webinars. My name is Deb Wilkinson, and I'm the Vice President of the Health Plan Options Department here at URL Insurance Group. My duties include overseeing the traditional group health markets and individual markets. If you are new to this format, I just want you to know that there are a couple ways you can ask your questions. You can either just click on the hand icon and raise your hand, and I'll unmute you at the end of the webinar, and you can ask your questions live, or you can just type it into the question box at the bottom of your control panel. So just, you know, all of you that have been joining in all these years probably realize that I struggle with technology. So just with a show of your little hand icons, if you can just let me know if you can see my screen. Awesome, excellent. Appreciate that. All right, so let's get into the agenda. One of the new features that we've added is just kind of a weekly update on what the new administration is bringing to the table, specifically to the repeal and replace promise that then candidate Trump talked about. Now he is, of course, the president, and last Monday, the American Health Care Act was released. We talked a little bit about it last week, what's in the bill. Since then, it has passed both committees, but still getting a lot of pushback from Democrats and Republicans. It's not a terribly popular bill. Rand Paul from the Freedom Caucus is, you know, kind of a one-man show on talking about what his plan would have done versus this plan. And truth be told, Rand Paul had a lot of great ideas, and that Freedom Caucus had a lot of great ideas for the repeal and replace. Now, it is mentioned that this is just the bill, that there's markups, there's negotiation, and it's a three-part sort of approach to repeal and replace. So, you know, this is not the final wording. So hopefully level heads will prevail, and we can, you know, talk about what we don't like and what we do like, but hopefully ultimately the end product will result in the best options for all of us, brokers, consumers, and, you know, consumers of health insurance. So back to my soapbox. So, you know, the pushback is some feel that it's still government-controlled health care subject to reporting. You know, if a subsidy or tax credit is going to be given out, there has to be some sort of vehicle to prove that insurance has been purchased. Is that tax credit only for qualified plans? Don't know that yet. My feeling is the easing up of the individual tax penalty and the employer mandate would give the carriers options to create plans that are outside the metal levels, but as recently as yesterday, I've talked to carriers and they're still filing under the metal levels with at least no intentions that they're telling me about to file anything other than the metal level plan. So a bit disappointed in that, but the year is young, so hopefully as we proceed through this year, there will be a change to that statement, and we'll have some other options for these individual folks and for the group folks as well. So others feel that it's a, you know, a get for the rich, as they may have less negative impact. Certainly everyone's concerned about the Medicaid changes. Democrats are upset that some of the most vulnerable could be left uninsured because, of course, Medicaid expanded, and if they walk that back, then there will be a segment of the Medicaid folks that could have to get other forms of coverage. The Republicans feel that the proposed changes are fiscally necessary, of course, and an opportunity to overhaul the failing systems to create products that work for their own unique state needs. You know, imagine if our Medicaid dollars in our Commonwealth really went to the unique situation that Pennsylvania is, and that our citizens that are Medicaid eligible could have options that work for them within the state, as opposed to a one-size-fits-all nationally. So again, a long way away, but again, I just thought it's important to keep you up to date. The markups of the bill, the bill is actually supposed to go to the Budget Committee today. So we'll see what happens, and I'll bring you up to date next week. We did have a question last week from Margie, and I misunderstood the question. She was asking about the penalty for those that lapse as opposed to those that don't purchase insurance. And of course, the tax penalty is either going away or not being enforced according to this bill. It's still the law at this point. But if that penalty goes away, that's what I thought she was asking. I was incorrect. She was asking about the penalty for those that lapse. The insurance companies within this bill, the American Health Care Act, there is a provision that if somebody lapses due to non-payment, they can get insurance again, but the insurance carriers can charge up to 30% for 12 months. That's 30% more in premium for 12 months to kind of take care of some of the adverse selection, people coming in, getting services, and then terminating their plans. So again, that's part of the bill, and we'll see how that pans out. A lot of news just recently this week, pardon me, on the UPMC Pinnacle merger. Pinnacle is set to purchase 4 regional hospitals: Carlisle Regional, Heart of Lancaster, Lancaster Regional, and Memorial Hospital of York from an entity out of the South that currently owns those 4 hospital systems. Then a partnership, quote unquote, with UPMC. So this is pretty important, I think, certainly for Central Pennsylvania, as UPMC is predominantly a Western PA carrier. So there's certainly, with these purchases and the merger, if it's allowed to go through, it is subject to regulatory review, of course. But if it's allowed to go through, you could see how that could really, mix things up in Central PA for the carriers that have a firm footprint here. So we'll see. I know that, well, I don't know. I presume that Highmark and Hershey Med will push back because, of course, their merger was denied for some of the same reasons that, this potential merger could experience, just a monopoly, if you will. So that's, again, in the beginning stages, but it could shake things up, and it's pretty interesting to see how that will change, the footprint. So I wanted to just maybe mention this for you to save the date. The Pennsylvania Association of Health Underwriters has annually a day on the Hill where we all go down to the state capitol as citizen lobbyists, and as a group, we meet with legislators and talk about what our wants and needs are specifically for the health insurance. Obviously, Medicaid being put back into the state's hands may be something that we discuss. The American Health Care Act, that will probably be on the docket. But that day is scheduled for April 25th. There's going to be a CE credit and prep meeting on April 24th from 3 o'clock until 6 o'clock. This is going to be taking place at a hotel in downtown Harrisburg. There is a block of rooms for those that are out of state that may be interested, and more details are coming out. I don't have them yet, but the prep meeting on the 24th from 3 to 6 will also include a panel discussion with Aetna, CoreSource, and ELAP. So again, I think not only the CE credits, but the panel discussion and the prep work that we do the night before will make the 25th much more successful for all of us. If you've never been to a Day on the Hill event, you are never, ever left alone. We always travel in groups. You, as a new participant, may choose to comment to the legislator within the meeting or not. There's no pressure is what I'm trying to say. If you want to go and experience this, I encourage you to do that. But again, you don't have to worry about being put on the spot with a legislator and being asked pointed questions, which may be uncomfortable for you. So again, I will forward that information when I have it, but you might want to save those dates. A reminder about the Rafts and the POP documents. Pardon me. If your clients do not have a summary of plan document, the Raft document, that could lead to $110 per day per employee per health and welfare benefit. That is the penalty. With these Rafts and POPs to include the newly offered benefit notices that we're offering, these are important notices to keep your groups of all sizes compliant. And there are also important notices that are within the Rafts and within the benefit notices that, of course, keep the employers compliant, but it also includes the privacy policies, which I think is important too, especially in this world of scams and internet warfare, if you will. So if you do your group business with URL, these are complimentary offerings, and I encourage you to, if you've not heard about them or you want to ask specific questions, to reach out to your new business specialist and get some more information, or reach out to me as well. Happy to talk about these options. The next bullet point is Vince's Corner in today's newsletter, which will be coming out in about 20 minutes. There is a question in Vince's Corner, and the question is actually from Senator Toomey's office. Senator Toomey is, I don't know if it's his legislative aide, reached out to Vince Phillips and wanted to get PAHU's, the agents within PAHU's response to some questions. And that question is in, again, the newsletter, so take some time if you have an opinion and answer that question. What they're looking for within the office of Senator Toomey is, they say they're looking for stories of individuals and families that are struggling with the options they now have within the individual market. They go on to say that they received a fair amount of constituent mail on the issue, but this aide thought of PAHU because he knows that agents and brokers within PAHU represent many that have, interacted with people firsthand that have had massive increases in costs or cost sharing under Obamacare. So again, if you have an opinion or want to give your opinion, take a minute and look at that Vince's Corner within my newsletter and answer the questions, because they do get back to the appropriate people. And I think it's a good way to, of course, keep yourself informed and keep yourself as part of the solution, in my opinion. So NEPA HMO. NEPA includes mostly HMO products on the individual side. Many enrollments that took place during open enrollment were processed without the primary care physician information. So Highmark NEPA will be reaching out to members to obtain the PCP information. So you are to encourage your customers to return any phone calls or forms requesting that PCP information as quickly as possible. And if enrolling through the marketplace, they want the customers to contact member services, and the number is located on the back of their ID card to provide the PCP information. So again, be mindful of that, and if you have clients within the HMO individual platform for NEPA, just give them a heads up, if you will, that they will have to, if they get a request, that they should respond to it. Short-term medical coverage, HCC, National General, and IHC, they are all doing the 90 days after 4/1 for the short-term coverage. They also, and again, the law as proposed is subject to interpretation. So these three short-term medical carriers are allowing the 90 days, and once that 90-day duration expires, they can rewrite their health plan with the same carrier for an additional 90 days. So short-term coverage is very popular right now, obviously, after the open enrollment period ended, and these three carriers are good and should be looked at. We really like all three of them. Highmark, of course, is not taking any short-term applications, and that ended 2/28, I believe. and we still are waiting for the decision on what Capital Blue Cross is going to do with their short term, but they are working on it and working on the details of what they're going to do after 4/1. So again, just a reminder, short-term coverage is available and popular right now. There was a notice today from Lancaster Online, and basically there is a notice of a scam that's going on to collect insurance information from Pennsylvania residents. They said that the state health centers reportedly received calls from people nationwide who said that they've been contacted to switch their health insurance plan to a non-existent plan supposedly offered from the State Department of Health. The Department of Health does not offer any insurance programs, nor does it collect insurance information from residents receiving these services. Anyone receiving a call claiming otherwise is advised to hang up. But again, just be aware of this, that the Department of Health is not making calls, they're not asking for any information, but it's a good message and reminder for all of your clients that all of that information that is being requested is never going to be requested directly from your clients. So just hopefully they will hang up that call if they receive it. The next to last bullet point before we go into open forum is the webinar that is on Monday, the 20th at 2 p.m. Jim McDaniel, our Director of Marketing and Advertising, is running a webinar on the My URL functionality for our website. It's a system where you can go into our portal and you can check your cases, your contracts, commissions, etc. So for anyone doing business with URL, it's probably a good use of your time. It's a 30-minute session, and again, that's on Monday the 20th at 2 p.m. And that brings us up to our open forum. Hopefully you have a lot of questions. And just a reminder while you're formulating those that our next webinar is next Thursday, the 23rd. So let's see what questions we have. Margie asks if there will still be open enrollment dates through the marketplace. That I don't know, Margie. I'm not sure. I really don't know, to tell you the truth. I would hope not, but we don't know. The American Health Act, this is from Dave, appears to be botched up. The refundable tax credit will not work for low-income folks who can't wait until the end of the year to get their money back. Do you expect this will change? That I don't know, Dave. It's quite possible that it will, and I know that's a portion of it that's really getting some pushback, so I don't know. You know, the world's our oyster right now, and these details will be worked out. I just don't know how it's going to all end up. Nate says, as I read through the proposed bill, I don't see anything that gives me any optimism concerning the return of individual commissions. Yeah, Nate, I agree with that. I think that if carriers kind of get out of this metal level stuff and look for other products that, you know, to create other products, that there might be commissions, but at this point it's still so early to tell, and I don't know. I'm not very optimistic myself, but hopefully we're both wrong. Dave also asked, why can't Price go ahead and get rid of all the mandates and penalties right away versus waiting on the AHA to pass? Because they can't do that without either reconciliation or a change to the law, because it is law. Dave says, do you have a Rafts Pop template that we can personalize to send to our group? I have the request. I have the collection booklet and the request form, but it's not personalized because it's the same for every group. I'll reach out to you, Dave, and maybe get some more questions or more details. And that's it. That brings us up to the conclusion. Again, I thank you so much for joining in every week. There's a lot to talk about, hopefully a lot of positive things going on, yet to be determined. But we'll keep in touch and keep informed and keep you informed as well. So thanks again for joining in. I hope you have a great balance of the week now that we are done shoveling out Estella, and I hope you have a great weekend as well. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.